All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who has quite the highly anticipated rematch coming up, one that wasn't necessarily on the docket initially, but an incredibly exciting fight. BKFC 84, the light heavyweight championship, is going to be defended by the individual I have on today in the November 15th main event. Josh Dyer and Lorenzo Hunt are going to knuckle up and toe the line once again, and great having Josh on Bare Knuckle Bowker today. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we got a big fight coming up. Real excited for this one. He took a piece of my soul a couple years back, so now I need to go back and get that from him.
It's just such an interesting fight. Like, obviously, there's like a piece of this that I'll get into in a subsequent question thereafter, but you kind of touched on it there. And we've talked about it in previous conversations, just how, I guess, impactful that Lorenzo Hunt performance was in the first fight and in so many different regards for sure. Like, what does, I guess, the sentiment feel like getting ready to have this rematch with him November 15th at BKFC 84 and everything?
Well, it honestly just feels like the most important fight of my life. In bare knuckle, he was my only loss, and he did it in a very brutal way. So I'm just happy to get the opportunity to get back in there and get that. My team's excited for it. Got a lot of friends and fans that are excited for it. You always want to see your guy go back and get the dub. So to be able to have this opportunity is a big deal for me.
Yeah, hopefully you're getting paid a bit more than 5 grand for this go around. I saw an interview where you were saying that's what you got for the first Hunt fight. So yeah,
Yeah, we're getting significantly more. My knockout bonus is more than way more than that. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Now I know what he's capable of, and yeah, that last one wasn't worth it for 5 Gs. I would recommend that nobody take that for 5 Gs. My emergency room bill for 13 Gs. So
Ooh.
yeah, no, I made sure this time we took it way more seriously with the negotiations.
And it just illustrates the scale of everything too, because in some recent interviews that I've seen, it really seems like you've felt like you've established yourself in the sport, and understandably so. I mean, a champion and a lot of exemplary performances. So it seems like you're really in a place where like you know your worth, and you're really, I guess, staying like in a good spot with like really knowing your worth and kind of demanding that and putting that out there on like even a money level or even opponents you're looking to be matched up with. So that would seem like a great place to be in now.
You see a lot of fighters come into the sport, and right off the bat, everybody wants to fight all the big name guys. Everybody wants that, and nothing really makes these guys special. So I knew coming in that I was going to have to work my way up. I was going to have to say yes to everything, and I was going to have to kind of just be a little bitch. Like when they make the call, I show up, I handle business, and I go. So I just said yes, never negotiated, never did anything. But in doing so, I did get a chance to make a name for myself, and I did get a chance to build a following, and I beat some incredible guys. That was just it. Just make sure you win, and things should just go good. And now we're getting to a point now where I know I'm like, hey, I put in 6 years now, yeah, or 5-ish years of six in total bare knuckle, five BKFC, and I run a business. I've run a business for 10 years. I know what I can earn in my business, when I'm running that sucker, and I'm looking over here, I'm just like, hey, if I'm gonna put, half a decade into something, all right, and I've done what I believe I was called to do. In them, I did everything I asked for. I put on stellar performances. I had a 100% knockout ratio. I'm like, I've done everything they've asked, and I'm like, now it's time for you to reward me. And so far they're playing ball.
Yeah, and love to see that. And I think this is something that, I mean, I guess it's relative to how much insight you might have in it, but I did kind of mention it a bit earlier as something I wanted to focus on because you were initially supposed to fight the number one pound for pound BKFC fighter in Dave Mundell, the promotion's middleweight champion. And that's obviously not transpiring now, like relative to what you understand from that situation. Why aren't you going to be fighting Dave Mundell on this upcoming card you're featured on?
There was a lot of confusion with this particular one. I was surprised when they put the fight up. Like I had a little bit of people mention it to me, but I'd been told that David signed already. And so I was just waiting on my contract because I was negotiating for that one also. And I didn't accept their first offer, which was still incredible. But I'm just like, nah, not for that guy. This is a super fight. Two champions going against each other, pound for pound best. Then the winner gets king of violence is a big thing. So I just assumed that he didn't like the numbers that they'd offered him or something like that. I know that he got the call about the same time I did, which was roughly, an 8-week camp. But, and I guess I can't say I know, right? That's just what I was told, in the process. He had hinted that he didn't really know anything about the fight, that it wasn't serious, that no contracts were sent. And he was also surprised when they put uh, the whole commercial thing together and they showed our little promo. And I was like, well, I guess I got it. I mean, yeah, I got a phone call, but there was no talk of them accepting my numbers or anything. So I was a little surprised. So I was like, well, time to start taking this seriously. So I started like putting it on Facebook, running it a little bit. And, but I noticed that Mundell was pretty quiet about it. But I mean, I started seeing him with like motorcycle videos and with all five of his belts and everything. So I'm like, dude, I'm running with that. I'm like, this is the dude I'm fighting. Share his stuff. I'm like, thanks for the video. That was a fantastic job you guys just did. It's gonna make me look really good when I beat you. But yeah, when I got the call back and they said the Mundell fight's off, he didn't want it. He didn't want it. I'm like, I thought we both knew about this like weeks ago. But yeah, a lot of confusion. So I'm not gonna talk shit about the dude. I assume he just didn't think it was worth it for the money. So yeah, I know that I would be a big risk for him. So that was the first smart decision I thought he ever made. It was whenever when he dipped out, I was like, damn, dude, that's actually a really good plan. I mean, you're not even the biggest 75er. You're coming up to 85. I'm the biggest 85er. Hunt is maybe a little bigger now, but yeah, that's not a smart business decision. You're already pound for pound number one. You already have a really high chance of fighting Perry. Like, why put that risk on the table? So when he did that, I was like, man, he might be smarter than I thought.
It does seem like a confusing situation because I saw an interview, and you also just kind of referenced it there a bit ago too, just the dynamics of seeing that, fight with Mundell announced, but you hadn't been, I guess, formally sent a contract. And it seemed like Mundell also maybe expressed a similar thing. Like, did that seem like something the promotion maybe just got ahead of themselves with and announced and figured you guys would be game to take it? And maybe it was a little overzealous and kind of played out in this particular way? Or is that ultimately just outside of what you know and you're just kind of focused on your new challenge for this situation?
I mean, I could just step back and look at it logically and be like, all right, they put an ad out without two people signing for this. That's maybe A, to put a little bit of pressure on it, or B, just to use the free advertising, which is a great business strategy. I looked at that and I was like, I wonder what the odds are that they did that just to like hype everything up to like get more views for maybe another fight or something like that. Get a couple, I don't know. But I have no idea what the real matter was. They may have been confident because we've always said yes, right? Like we're yes men, so I think maybe this is the first time they both got hit with negotiations and they're like, oh shit, man, how bad do we want this? How many views are we going to get? Is it in the states that they're in? So what fan base is going to show up? So they might have just thought that they couldn't afford this one at that time, but maybe another one could generate a little bit more viewership. So yeah, that's my guess.
And what were your thoughts, I guess, seeing the whole instance where I guess it was kind of Conor McGregor seemingly goading some of the action, like the face off between Mundell and Perry, even though they had announced earlier in the broadcast that you guys were fighting? Like, do you have any thoughts on that particular situation? Because it kind of resonated as, I don't know, I want to say strange, but maybe at the very least there was some sort of disconnect between what McGregor was looking to do as like a partial owner versus what the broader, I guess, directive of other parts of BKFC were looking to drive forward.
I missed it. I as soon as I saw like my video, I got to work training, and I had heard that they did a face off, but I was like, is that the same one they did in Hollywood earlier this year? Is it a repeat? I just didn't. I didn't know if it was real or not.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the face off they're making, it makes sense. What I was already thinking was that he probably stands his best chance of fighting Perry now. So I'm like, he's gonna ruin that. So I bet based on what he said after he beats Cerrone, or no, not Cerrone, Donald Sanchez. Sorry, I'm getting the Donalds mixed up over. But I thought he said he really wanted Perry, or he was considering being done. And I was standing right there, so I was just like, oh yeah, damn, I was pushing for Perry. I'm like, but I mean, technically he's earned it more, and I mean he's making the call outs too. So and he's closer to the weight division, I think. So I was like, it kind of is a good fight to make. I'm just trying to steal the opportunity because I wanted to be the one to slay Perry. That's all I wanted. I mean, he deserves it more. I'll admit it, but I genuinely just want to be the first one to take that O away from him and then get a huge paycheck for that fight because I've been putting so much time into this. I'm ready to make some real money. And Perry's the money fight. Anybody can deny it, but he's the freaking money fight. He did a great job in the organization. He sold the shit out of himself every fight, and he brought a massive following over from the UFC. So that's all of our goal. I mean, being a champ is cool and all, but fighting Perry is the shit. So that's what we're all trying to get after, I guess.
I guess within that thought, is there a worry that maybe the promotion will try to establish this Mundell versus Perry fight next? And maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe it could be a thought process where it's like, oh, I could, miss that Perry opportunity. Or if Mundell happens to win that hypothetical fight, maybe it, gets a rebooking with you and it gets even bigger. Do you have any thoughts about any of these moving parts as I kind of bring them up?
No, those all sound fantastic. Like as far as like possibility goes, you got a pretty good insight. I like that. I think that that's probably what's going to happen. I think Mundell beats his ass, which blows because I wanted to do it first. It's not cool beating Perry second. Fuck, I want to be the one to get it. But I see Mundell taking it. He deserves it. Go get it. I see him getting the King of Violence belt. Yes, I think that I would be a great candidate should I beat Hunt on November 15th. I think that that would be the fight to make. That we're both champs. He's pound for pound. I beat Lorenzo, and let's get it. King of Violence belt. You know, yeah, I think it's a strong chance.
Yeah, and I would feel like you would have a certain level of momentum being that you're, the light heavyweight champion and coming off of a certain, I guess, like level of additional momentum, just, claiming that title from Mike Richmond, someone who gave Hunt one of his more difficult fights in BKFC, I would say, even though he, ultimately did come out victorious. So I would think there would be a certain level of momentum heading into this kind of fight and whatnot. And yeah, maybe even more of like a personal connection piece than the Mundell fight would provide, just that chance to avenge the lone loss in bare knuckle, as you referenced earlier.
Yeah, definitely. This was going to be a really cool one. I mean, watching what Richmond did to Hunt truly was it was terrifying to me. Like it was one of the scariest things I ever saw. I had a lot of money on Hunt. Yeah, me and a couple other guys, we were like, dude, listen, let's look at this. Hunt beat my ass, which I think I'm pretty good. And, Richmond is at the time, I'm like, he's pretty small. Hunt was the biggest dude I ever fought at 85. I mean, he made my weight cut look freaking, actually, I fought him at 95, technically. So, I mean, we're still both pretty big. But yeah, I mean, Richmond's not a big 85. He's tiny. So I was like, dude, Hunt is way too powerful for this guy. And so when I seen what Richmond did, I like almost shit my pants, dude. Like I was looking at it like it was like Jurassic Park 2, where you look at the T-Rex and you're all like, yeah, that's the bad one from Jurassic Park 1 over here, scariest dinosaur in the world. And then that Spinosaurus thing hops out and snaps his neck in like no time. And the T-Rex is just dead. And you're like, is that Mike Richmond? Like, oh shit. Like, great. I was just hoping that there was nobody tougher than Hunt. That's what I was thinking. I was like, fuck, and it's in my weight division? Of course. I mean, we had a stacked division over here. God, this is crazy. And then, yeah, then Hunt came back and hit him with the horsepower. And I was like, whew, remember that. Remember that. It's got some real power, real heat behind those punches. So yeah, I wasn't surprised when Richmond got knocked out because I knew what Hunt was capable of. I just knew how to touch him. But I was so surprised when he put Hunt down. I'm like, shit, man. Yeah, that was crazy. Not to go too deep into details of that, but yeah, this should be a relatively good one.
And I feel like when I saw this fight announced, especially with the light heavyweight championship piece on the line, and I mean, Hunt ultimately has been a light heavyweight champion before, but I guess tying to the Richmond thing, I feel like so much of the lead up into that fight was about like if he could make the weight, and like he had won the championship when the weight limit was set at a prior weight marker before. So there was a lot of discourse around weight and Hunt being able to hit that. Like, is there any thought to that in terms of like your position in this fight and if he's able to do that and whatnot, just in terms of making it like a locked in official title fight, or is that kind of like immaterial to you and it's just out of your
Yeah.
control? You don't think of it.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't make weight, we're gonna have to do a little bit of renegotiating. We're gonna look at the money. We're gonna look at whether this is still a title fight. There's a couple different things that we would take into consideration there with the advantages of coming in heavier. You know, I'd we take a look at it and just see how it goes. But I intend on fighting him. Like I don't like to cut freaking 26 pounds in 4 days of straight water weight to not fight. So I want this to happen really bad. I'm nervous that he's not going to make the weight, but like I said, we got fail safes if he doesn't. We're not bitches. We're going to handle it professionally. The fans are going to get a fight. Lorenzo's going to accept it because the dude wants to fight, right? He wants the belt. It's a lot to offer here. So yeah, there's no concerns that I have that it's not going to work out great. So yeah.
And something I kind of wanted to tap in on a little bit too, just because I wasn't sure if I was like misconstruing what you were saying per se, but I'd seen an interview where you were talking about having a certain aversion to fighting in California with, I guess, some talk about worrying about drug test oversights. And it seemed like you were intimating that maybe like errant drug test findings have like ruined different fighters' careers. And I tie that into the Hunt situation because his Knucklemania 4 failed drug tests were under the purview of that specific commission. So I guess in saying that, like, do you not put as much stock into Hunt's failed drug tests from last year because of those components?
Um, I look at it like I am nervous about California. Like I told my coach, I'm like, dude, I don't ever want to fight there because there are some people that I know pretty sure they didn't have anything in their system. And I'm like, and then they just get popped. Lorenzo, I don't know the full details on what he had, but he got hit up with it. And I'm just like, I talked to my manager and he was like, dude, listen, dude, Cali pops all sorts of shit over there. He's like, we just don't ever want to fight there. I'm like, I get it. I'm like, I don't want to have a career ruined over some weird shit that pops up. So, um, I'm not concerned, but at the same time, I am, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen some things that like make me think that there might be a little bit of weird stuff that goes on in Cali. So yes, their commission's strict, but there's some other things. I say a lot of stuff online, so I'm like, great, did I run my mouth too much? I'm like, Cali gonna get me? I'm like, yeah, but I don't think so. You got Hunt over here. He had his issues over there, which makes me a little bit more comfortable to go there because I'm like, hey, in the event that something did happen, um, they would find out, right? And if something happened last time, they're just on it. So I know that when we show up, there's not gonna be any bullshit. It's gonna be legit. So I'm like, hey, if I was gonna have to fight anybody there, let's fight this dude and let's make it work.
And I just feel like the timing of this is so perfect in a sense because I've seen excerpts where you talk about how mentioning your bare knuckle style that you've curated for yourself is almost an amalgamation of Dominic Cruz, Mike Tyson, and obviously your own personal seasoning, personal touches in the mix, as it were, and really amended your bare knuckle style to such a unique thing. And the methodology came right from when you had the loss to Hunt. So just with the momentum of you being champion now and the altering of the style, I would think this would be such a great test to be able to, I guess, see how that works within like implement it in this kind of a context and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a dream come true, actually, considering that I developed this whole style because of him, so I was like, the idea behind it was that I need to make a style that could destroy Hunt because what I had before ain't working so good. So I'm like, this is actually the ultimate test of whether or not what I created does the job that it was meant to do, which was to avoid getting smashed by ridiculously powerful dudes in straight lines. So I'm like, if we can avoid that, then I think we might be able to take away some of his biggest weapons and give me a chance to land mine. And yeah, I think this is the test, man, to see if I was just sipping the Kool-Aid back in the day, building this style in my basement, wondering if it's going to work. Am I crazy? Should I be training with a coach instead of watching YouTube? So this will be the test.
Yeah, no, it's just so exciting to see for sure, man. Like I said, I mean, comes from like that direct fight. So I feel like it'd be the perfect context to test it in. And I don't know, it's interesting because you're fighting a former two division champion here. And before that, hiatus from the Knucklemania 4 testing situation was regarded as one of the top pound for pound fighters in the company, if not number one in the eyes of many. Like, is this fight almost in a way like a more ideal fight for you than even the Mundell fight, just even considering the personal piece with you as well?
in different ways. I would say that Mundell would have been more ideal in that I stood a way better chance of winning, right? So I was like, I'm pretty sure that I could just beat Mundell, get that pound for pound title in a not such a hard dog fight. Like I should be able to handle it, easy. So it's more of a sure win. Going against Hunt, bigger variables, bigger dude, strong chin, dangerous man. And so I stand a chance of losing everything now, right? Like I did before too, but like just I thought feel like the percentages are off. There's a time when I was like, well, Hunt probably beats me 7 out of 10 times. And I'm like been slowly improving to get the point where I'm like, I'm 5 out of 10. And now we're like, oh, is this six? Do I win 6 out of 10 now? And so I'm just kind of getting that point where it's like, it's it's ideal in that he took something from me, man. Like I said, he took a piece of my soul, and I get a chance to get that back and to prove to everybody that's been watching me that thinks in the back of their head that Lorenzo's better than me. I'm like, this is the opportunity for them to go, we were right, or holy shit, we were wrong. And guess Josh was.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's just such an interesting style you have too, because your 100% finishing rate definitely speaks volumes, but there's also that, I guess, composure and fight IQ and not trying to like overextend to force the stoppage. Like a lot of first round finishes for sure, but also some stoppages in the later rounds as well. So I mean, presumably it's safe to say this one's going to end inside the distance, you would say, like in a way that's mindful of the composure and fight IQ to not, overextend and force it. But it seems like the track record paints a particular picture.
Yeah, this is going to be one where it sucks because I do kind of need that knockout, you know, on this one. There's a sizable knockout bonus on this one, and I'd like to snatch that up. I'm going to do my best to do it intelligently, but I think that finishing Hunt would be something that would solidify me into this position for I think a while now. So yeah, I want to see that happen. It's definitely not going the distance. Like I promise I will not let it go the distance. I mean, I've got like 4 different backup plans, none of which go the distance. So like I said, I'm either going to get knocked the hell out or he is. So I promise that. So like I said, I've always taken an opportunity to try to be an entertaining fighter. With Richmond, I kept it to smarter moments because I saw what he did to Warren in like 40 seconds. So I was like, fuck, he hit that dude 2 times and it was over. And I had to hit that guy like freaking for 3 rounds to stop him. I was like, shit, Mike must hit pretty hard. So I was like, okay. So even if I'm winning, kind of like Jared was, I can't rush in and get clipped with that lead hook or I'm gonna be sleeping. So I had to use a little bit of like a little bit more care on him. So, but Lorenzo, that knockout bonus is too good. So I'm just gonna have to go get it.
And it just seems like such a unique time. Like, obviously, this is such a big moment for you, and you've described it as like the biggest opportunity of your career. But even like, I don't know, the idea of like maybe a Perry or Mundell rebooking, and even that $25 million tournament they're talking about, if you're inclined to, be part of that, it just seems like there's an abundance of opportunity potentially here for you now.
Yeah, there's an abundance as long as I win, right? If I lose the belt, I lose probably my opportunity to get into that $25 million tournament. There's a lot of downsides. Like I said, that was the benefit of it being Mundell. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. It's not going to be too hard. I'll be able to be healthy for the $25 million tournament that I'm probably going to get into because I just snatched up the pound for pound best spot. Why would they have a tournament to find out the best fighter in the world and not put the pound for pound best bare knuckle fighter in the world in the tournament? So I'm like, that would have been a really freaking way in. So I was more excited about that tournament than the Mundell fight. So I'm like, okay, so that'll be work. Now with Lorenzo, now it's like, oh shit. Okay, we're going all in here. We got all the cards on the table now, man. Now it's like, okay, are we gonna stay with bare knuckle or not? Because I pretty much lose everything here. So I gotta win. This is it. Can't lose this one.
It seems like I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like even in your cadence and how you're talking about it, it's like you're using the words of like, oh, I can lose it all and etc. But it seems like you're very excited by the moment. Like it seems like it like really lifts you up and galvanizes you more than it's a moment you seem to be dwarfed by, I guess. So something to be said about that, I would think, just even the confidence piece and the focus and etc.
Yeah, so a lot of the confidence and like the focus you're talking about comes from just how hard I work. Like I put in a lot of work. Like my work ethic when it comes to the gym, it's crazy. And confidence just gets built, while you're doing that. Like they say confidence isn't something you have, it's something you do. And when you do something enough, you just get confident at it. And anyway, I am very confident in my ability to beat Lorenzo now. You know, I was also confident the first time, but now I know that I was an idiot. So now I'm like, okay, we've established that and gotten through that. But yes, it's a big risk. Like I know what he's capable of. I've seen what he's done to every person, including myself, what he's capable of. And so now it's up to me to make sure that I don't give him those opportunities. We know he's the juggernaut. What's the real juggernaut do? Well, he gets more power, with more momentum his ass builds. Just like Lorenzo. If that dude starts cracking you and he starts coming at you, the dude just turns into the freaking juggernaut and he's not somebody you want to be around. But if you can do what Richmond did and start popping him and pushing his ass back, all of a sudden he's not so juggernautish anymore. And I'm like, phew, that's what we got to do. We got to make sure he doesn't turn into the juggernaut in that ring. And if he does, we're gonna run out of the way or something. you know, we're gonna get around his ass and then reset or something. Because when that dude starts slinging and it's coming with all that weight and momentum and yeah, inertia, that is some crazy power. I've never been dropped in my entire life until Lorenzo punched me, and that was it. And he dropped me like three, four, five times that round for that fight. So I'm like, damn, this guy can hit. So I appreciate his gifts and what he's got. I just think that my fight IQ, my speed, and my footwork have gotten to the point to where I should be able to negate a lot of what makes the juggernaut.
And I just love the piece of like the natural building up of confidence over time, the more that you show up. I guess just tying it to an Instagram post that I saw where it spoke about your journey, like in middle school, being bullied and overlooked and kind of getting into wrestling and then fighting for, quite a while after high school, but then I guess kind of walking away. And I guess like an uncle was kind of talking to you about that. And you gave like a more, I guess, responsible kind of answer. And he said, "Oh, that's a shame. You could have been one of the best." And it seemed like that moment lit a fire based on this post that I'm referencing. So something kind of incredible about all of that in the context of how everything's built up into this moment here.
Yeah, well, we all go through adversity, and I went through my fair share coming up, and you know, I just yeah, like I told you last time, I always just wanted somebody to believe in me. That's all I really wanted, and I just never really felt like someone that I truly respected actually believed in me. And when he said that to me, it was just a revelation. I'm like, what? I mean, even if he was making shit up, he just said it so like nonchalant and disappointed that I couldn't help but feel that he really believed in me. I was like, damn. And yeah, that was cool. I was like, could I have been? And yeah, and I did my best to do that. And it feels good now because unfortunately, he passed away. And now at current moment, I stand a really good chance of being the best. You know, November 15th, if I beat Lorenzo, which I plan on doing, that is a real statement in the 185-pound division because he was the champ that never lost his title at 85. Like he earned it, kept it. It got taken away from him, but he never lost the fight. So I'm like, to everybody who just wants to know who the actual best is, they all know it's him. So I'm like, except for the people that are falling for my bullshit right now, right? But I'm telling you, I might even fool Lorenzo. So we're gonna see. But I'm gonna get up in there and see if I can pull some tricks out of my ass and make it work. But it's gonna be a great night. That's all I can say. I'm really excited about it. Got a lot of emotion tied up into this one, and this is a rare opportunity that most people will never get in their lives. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Just to be able to fight is incredible, but to have an opportunity to get something back that was taken from me so savagely, I'm like, that's cool. Like I'm excited to go out there and prove to myself that I am who I am.
That's an incredible thought and could even, I guess, serve as a parting thought in and of itself. But I figured I'd give you the floor if there was anything you kind of did want to put out there as we're wrapping up, Josh. I really do appreciate the time ahead of such a massive moment in not just your career, but your life from all accounts. So, yeah, I figured I'd give you the floor if you had anything you wanted to add there, man.
Hmm, great. I'm so bad at these things, but
Oh,
um,
yeah.
no, I just yeah, just appreciate the moments in life. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for all the people that watch me. Like that they congratulate me and encourage me. It means a lot. Because some of the things that I do are pretty freaking hard, and to have people that are consistently reaching out, saying good job, walking up to me in the stores, hey. Good job getting the belt, man. I'm like, it does feel good, that people notice that. And I'm like, I mean, I did it for me, but it also feels good to like know that maybe I'm inspiring someone else. Maybe they can look at me and go, damn, dude, like somebody from our little ass town made it, which means that maybe if I just worked like he did, maybe I could make it. Maybe I could just put in the work and believe it's possible and make it happen. And there's a lot of people that get stuck in the 9 to 5s that know what they want to do and they're just can't quite get out of it. So like just putting in a little bit of work goes a long ways.
No, it's an amazing parting thought, man. And I feel like you really, keep the spirit of your uncle alive in such a great way with that, not just through your individual effort, but the fact that you had that spark in you where that belief really, settled in from someone you respected and the thought that you want to give that to other people. And carry it forward is incredible, man. Just super appreciate you coming on Bare Knuckle Bowker ahead of this Lorenzo Hunt rematch. I'm definitely very excited to check out this light heavyweight championship fight at BKFC 84 and all the best with the remainder of the preparations until you guys throw down on November 15th there. And yeah, but just until then, man, you have a good rest of your day and thank you so much for the time.
Hey, thanks for having me on again, man. You're fantastic, man. You're a great interviewer. I'll catch you later, brother. Take it easy.